Yo, what is up, everybody? This is your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast coming at you with another episode. Took a little break after the NBA Finals. That was my last episode, my quick reaction on Game 6. But back at it, had to come back. First day of the NBA free agency frenzy, okay? 6 o'clock today, bombs started dropping. I mean, Charms and Woj were dropping bombs like if it was World War II with all these quick signings and stuff like that. So I'm going to come and give you my reaction and takeaways on what I think were the best signings, the most impactful, right? The one that created the most buzz in day one of the free agency frenzy here for the NBA, all right? It's summertime, baby. June 30th, about 9:21, giving you the quick and instant reaction, not waiting for the next day. May miss a couple, but let me give you what my top picks were, my top signings that will have an impact. And of course, I will break these down in the next upcoming weeks and days as more news develop. So let's get busy here, man. And let's start with the biggest of them all right? Nikola Jokic, the Joker, signs the biggest NBA contract, all right? The biggest in the history of the NBA. 5 years, $264 million Supermax extension. Largest contract in NBA history. He is definitely the highest grossing second round pick in the history of this game. And I don't think there's going to be another second round pick that's going to amount to what Nikola Jokic has amounted in his career up to now. I mean, 264, this man is unreal. A 27-year-old Serbian will have, and they still owe $32.5 million this year. It's unbelievable. He got paid. He got paid, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. I mean, come on. You got to understand, he is a two-time NBA champ. The man averaged like 27 points last year. You got to pay the man. He is unreal. He is one of the best players in the league. Has reinvented the center position with the way that he plays the game. But look, 27.1 points per game last year, 13.8 rebounds, 7.9 assists. Led the NBA with 19 triple-doubles, the 13th player in NBA history to record back-to-back MVPs. He is the sole reason why why the Nuggets are relevant. And they struggled without Jamal Murray, but he took them to the playoffs. You got to pay Nikola Jokic. You got to pay the Jokic. See, the Nuggets did what the Orlando Magic did not do when they had the opportunity to sign the best big man in the game back in the 90s with Shaquille O'Neal, and slipped away from their hands. And, the Lakers gave him max dollars, gave him the highest contract in the league. And guess what? Because Orlando was trying to shortchange Shaq. Look, they slept on the wheel, but the Denver Nuggets did not sleep on the wheel. They brought out the checkbook. They made the trades they needed to do. They mortgaged the future. They sold the kids' cars. They remortgaged their house, took out an equity loan, a HELOC, gave all the money to the best player in that team, best player in that city, and the actual player that is the face of the franchise. You got to do what you got to do, man. It is what it is. You have to pay Nikola Jokic, who is the best center in the game, the two-time MVP, back-to-back MVP. Now, the Suns are finalizing a Supermax deal with Devin Booker. All right, $214 million my man's going to get. And Book, man, he led the Suns to a 64-18 record, 26 points per game, almost 27, 5 rebounds, almost 5 assists. He's guided. He's the reason why the Suns, since he got drafted, how they started improving, and he's led them to an NBA Finals since 1993 last year. So you got to pay the man $214. Of course you have to. He's the future of the franchise. You got to throw everything in the kitchen sink at him. You know what I'm saying? The only reason he didn't get $250 because he hasn't won an MVP. Talking about $250, which is, we think about it, the next contract is $51 million. All right, folks. That's $250 million, okay? That's $250 million contract. And that goes to Bradley freaking Beal. Opted out of his deal, all right, and then agreed to a 5-year extension, $251. Last year, Beal played like 40 games, averaged 23.2 points per game, 4 rebounds, almost 5 rebounds and 6 assists in 40 games. He's a 3-time All-Star. And look, and what you're paying for Bradley Beal is the offensive, right? If we go back before this year, Bradley Beal, since 2018-19 season, he averaged 25 a game. 2019-20, 30.5 a game. 2020-21, 31.3 points per game. He's instant offense. He's pure offense. honestly, this guy can hoop. The guy can score. And I don't blame him for staying with the Washington Wizards. I know he's all about winning and stuff like that. And I know he said it a bunch of times that he wanted to go to a contender. But he needs to take care of his future and his family's future. And financially, the only team that was going to give him a supermax contract was going to be the Wizards. Stay, take the money if I'm Beal, which he's doing, and then move on. Hopefully they could build around him. Now, I hope he's not damaged goods. Played 40 games. He should come back. Wasn't a serious injury. But whether he's worth $251 million, to me, I highly doubt it. He's a product of the market, all right? Supply and demand. It's a very short supply superstar NBA free agent season right now, and he's one of the top ones that's available. So therefore, the man's got to get paid, and he is getting paid $251. But you're paying $251 million because the man averaged over 30 points per games in the last 2 seasons before this season when he got injured. So again, the man stayed in Washington because guess what? He wanted the max money. I don't blame him for that. You got to take, a bird in the hand is better than, I forget what the saying is, but whatever it is. The other one that made a lot of sense was the Trailblazers locking down Anthony Simmons because a 4-year deal, $100 million. You got to lock this kid up. He's so young, right? And last year he was an emergence, and especially when Damian Lillard was out, there's a reason why they were able to trade CJ McCollum because they know what they have in Anthony Simmons. $100 million is more than well deserved for 17 points per game. Shot 45% from the field and 41.5 from three. The kid is young. I think he's like 21 years old. And that's a great signing because they still have enough money with Lillard being under contract to attract a free agency. And look, Damian Lillard over the weekend in his Instagram story shot a pic out there, all right, about him and Kevin Durant in a Trailblazers uniform. What's up with that? I mean, hey, and we'll touch on Kevin Durant that today he went ahead and requested a trade. We got to touch on Kevin Durant before the end of the segment. But yes, Anthony Simmons, another impactful signing today, deservedly so. You got to like that kid. He's young, 400 mil, 4 years, 100 mil is really, really a good price for 17 points per game. I like that. That's a great signing, securing that player who has a lot of potential, still hasn't reached a ceiling for the Portland Trailblazers. Smart move right there by that organization. Let me see what else we got here. Moving on to a little James Harden news before I keep actually going into some of the other free agent signings. James Harden decided to opt out of his contract, kind of freeing up a little bit of money, and is good. I think that's actually really, really good because they're going to get a little more salary, increase that salary cap so they could go after some pieces to put around the Sixers. So that's a good move. I mean, it's great gesture of goodwill by James Harden, who's, in my career, has been a pretty greedy guy. The way that he chucks up the ball, right? And his offense is nothing but like a score. But with that money, I know they were able to finalize a 3-year deal with P.J. Tucker today and also Daniel House. These are good pieces, role players. Toughness in P.J. Tucker, wherever he goes, man, team succeeds because he's kind of like a Draymond, dirty lunch pill kind of guy. Daniel House is another gritty, tough guy, 8.5 points a game, who plays good defense, and also is going to go out there and perform and get some buckets. So they're going to add some nice free agent pieces over here. Let me hit some teams that actually had multiple signings and were significant because I think they improved themselves. And first and foremost, let me bring up the Bucks. Bucks had a very, very productive, they won a free agency here. They went ahead and kept Bobby Portis, 4 years, $49 million. You gotta sign Bobby, man. So Bobby is a heart and soul of that team. All right. So they also went ahead and they're bringing back Wesley Matthews, cheap 1 year. They are also in Javon Carter. So you have to lock those players down. But also, in addition, they got themselves Joe Ingles. All right. Joe Ingles, that's a good pickup. Joe Ingles is a tough defensive player, fits that mold. All right, because he's a scrappy guy who can hit the outside shot, all right, and can definitely be a great backup to Middleton. And if Middleton gets hurt again, you got a guy here that can get you 15 points pretty easy. So Joe Ingles, huge signing by the Bucks. Great signing by keeping Bobby Portis, who played huge for them. I think he averaged like 14 points per year. The other one, here we go. The Lakers. The Lakers actually made some noise today. Not in the sense of landing Kyrie Irving, which I'm going to touch before this segment is over, before this episode is over. But look, they signed some really, really young players that are going to contribute to this team, because the biggest problem the Lakers had was age. No disrespect to old people, but they were the oldest team in the league, and it showed. They got out-rebounded every night, they got out-hustled every night, and they were a complete dumpster fire. But they were able to sign Juan Toscano-Anderson, young cat, lots of energy, can put the ball in the basket, can also play defense. Lonnie Walker, like this kid, he's had some injuries, but Lonnie can play ball. And Lonnie's a young guy that's going to fit that rotation, and is going to, him and Toscano are going to relieve LeBron of some minutes in the game. And Troy Brown, another energy player, a guy that can shoot the three as well, but also play some good defense. 3 good solid picks, did not spend a lot of money. Wiser decision. We all know Russell Westbrook opted in, because guess what? He's not going to get that money anywhere else. So the Lakers actually had a good first day in free agency. I like that. I really like that right there. So that was pretty cool. Not last but not least, but let's talk about the Hawks, man. The Hawks started the day on fire, okay? The Hawks started the day with a massive trade, okay? They acquired DeJounte Murray from the San Antonio Spurs, all right? Yo, that's huge. That's huge. That trade right there was huge. I mean, they gave up a lot for DeJounte Murray. They sent over Danilo Gallinari, if I'm not mistaken, and 3 first-round picks. I think 23, 24, and 26, if I'm not mistaken. But they sent 3-round pick for DeJounte Murray, who is a very, very solid pick. This is a good trade. It gives them a lot of help offensively, along with Capella and with Clint Capella and John Collins. That is, let me tell you, that's solid for the Hawks. This is a very, very good, solid trade, and it's gonna give Ice Trae a second scorer. I think DeJounte can play. He's gonna play the 2 guard, or you could even have DeJounte play point guard, and what's his name? And Ice Trae, Trae Young, play the 1 or the 2. Gonna be 2 interchangeable players, and brings a lot more offense. You lose a little bit out on defense. I'm sorry, not on defense, but on size. But guess what? They don't need that right now. They have enough players up front in Collins and Capella. Right now, we are looking live. I believe the Knicks have signed Jalen Brunson. Okay, free agent Jalen Brunson has agreed to a $104 million deal. Live right now, Woj Bomb. $104 million deal with the New York Knicks as expected. You know what? At least the Knicks did not give him $110 million. I think he took less money, because he went to the table with $106 million from Dallas. He really wanted to go to New York. His dad's coaching in New York. And, we know the story of how much his dad coached Jalen Brunson. And look, I was going to leave this towards the end, but your boy's a Knicks fan, right? I like Jalen Brunson. I think the guy is a heck of a player. He showed what he's made of, especially in the postseason when Luka was out. But $106 million, that's more than Anthony Simmons. And Anthony Simmons is a way better player who has a higher ceiling. I think Brunson has already reached his ceiling this season. He already reached that top. He's not worth $104 million in my edition. Knicks are going to Knicks. That's what they're going to do. Knicks are going to do what Knicks do. Oversign players and overpay players. Like him as a player. Love him as a player. But I think the price tag of $104 million, a little too high. Supply and demand. The Knicks are clearing a lot of cap space, I hope. Now, this is just a piece to attract Kevin Durant, per se. I mean, wishful thinking, right? But the Knicks make it official. He actually took less money than Dallas, because officially, I think Woj said earlier that he had an offer sheet from Dallas for $106 million and just flew to the Knicks today, met an hour later, and guess what, man? Boom. He's a Knick, New York Knick. Like the signing, like the player, don't like the money. Do not like the money, all right? Hate the money. But let's talk the greatest shoe to drop. First thing today, Kevin Durant decides to directly go to the GM of the New York Nets, of the Nets, and request a trade. Kevin Durant wants out. He wants out of Brooklyn. I think, a few hours after Kyrie went ahead and opted in to his $37 million option, he requested a trade directly, all right, directly to the Nets GM or owner. I think we went directly to the Nets owner, according to Woj. Let me see here. Yeah, Kevin Durant and his business manager, Rich Kleiman, finding out that he wants to get traded. And according to Woj, his top 2 destinations Miami or Phoenix. Either one. Top 2 destinations right now for Kevin Durant. His top 2 landing spots. He wants to get traded, and he wants to get traded to a contender, folks. Not surprised here. Kevin Durant is really butthurt and in his feelings because you know he's very sensitive. And watching Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry also winning the Finals MVP, winning another ring without him, had to hurt. Showing him, big dog, you left a dynasty. We could have had 2 more rings. We could have 5 right now. Golden State could have 5 in the last 7 years, and if he hadn't left. So sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side, and Kevin Durant right now is in his feelings, and he's butthurt, and he wants to get out of the Nets. The biggest error of his career, the biggest mistake. It's going to be the end of an era. Not of an era for the New York Nets, for the Brooklyn Nets, because guess what? Kyrie also wants to get traded now, and he still wants to force his hand to the Lakers. So it's a dumpster fire in Brooklyn right now. The Nets have requested, the Durant wants out, Kyrie wants out. Nobody wants to play for the Nets. They gave up a lot, and hey man, it is what it is. At least they signed Nick Claxton, right? They re-signed Nick Claxton, which is a good deal, man. It's a good deal for them. But man, we're just getting started. Now, I want to see where Durant's going to end up, and I want to give you a full reaction probably after tomorrow. I want to see where it's going to end up. I don't want to go ahead and give you too much info. I just wanted to focus on the signings that happened today and the ones that were the most impactful. Thank you very much for listening and watching. This is your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk signing out. Peace.